Hi folks, morning. It's a beautiful day in my bit of South London suburbia. What to paint? It's a watercolour. This is on the £140 Winsor & Newton Cotman practice paper. I've got about 30-40 sheets of it left, so right. I've given this this a bit of a wet. I've been inspired lately by the walks of John Rogers on YouTube. He does all these lovely walks through all fabulous parts of London, even my River Wandle. And I'm looking at him in Crouch, on the River Crouch. He did a long walk that day. I think he was a bit tired by the time he finished it. But anyway, I'll make something up. So let's paint the day. Let's put a bit of the usual raw sienna. I wet it first so that I wouldn't have to put too much effort into drying it. We can have a little bit of red on there, a bit of light red. Not a lot. We don't want it to. We just want a little tint of it, and then we'll have the blue to replicate the day. Looking out my window. Well, I'm not looking out my window, but looking up at the sun now with a blind drawn. Let's have a nice delicate. You never know how these are going to turn out. Let's get a bit of a heavier cloud over the top of that. I only really use the ultramarine mixed with some light red, the ultramarine light red. Get some lovely effects with it. Right, okay, now we're going to just dry my brush, and I'm just going to try and dry some of that water off. Okay, right. So we've got this interesting flow of the wet. I could lower this so that it will stay more. So that's probably about 20 degrees now. It won't flow quite so readily, but when you leave it to go off like this, the red and the blue tend to granulate. You get this lovely effect. You can exploit it. Right, I'm going to do a bit of a bank, bit of a greeny, grassy bank, using a bit of my cad yellow pale, a bit of sienna. Bit of burnt sienna. Nice greens and plenty of colour in there. I think my burnt sienna is getting a little bit burnt. Okay, let's get some dark green in there. Just looking over a bit of a hill. Just making this up and being inspired by the music that John Rogers has put on his video. I'm not watching a video. I'm making this up, but just inspired by this part of Essex, the Essex marshes, going up to New Malden. Now, I do know, not that particular area, but we have family that decamped from parts of London to Brightlingsea, Arsford, Wivenhoe. Though my brother-in-law died about 3 years ago, Big Sid, who lived in Alresford, but he started off at Wivenhoe, which is just it's on the River Colne, all parts of the Blackwater estuary, and I painted a lot of stuff from round Alresford Creek and the Colne. So this is just having fun with the paint, really. I'm going to change my brush to the medium Ron Ranson Hake. I want to put some blue trees in across that background, a bit of Payne's grey, but not too dark. And we'll just see what happens to this. Give it a bit of distance to the whole thing. Just looking across the marshes. Just dropping some heavier coats, lovely birds. Well, we could say looking across the salt marsh to across the River Crouch, but I'm just making this up. I think it's a good idea to paint from reference material, photographs or YouTube, but just change it around, make it your own. Not always easy, but can be rewarding. Now I'm going to put some more trees on there. I'll try to do all this without recourse to the hairdryer. Well, the hairdryer. Oh, I've got a split on my thumb. See that? Right at the tip. And it's right where you want to grab things. Okay, now I'm going to use another brush. I'm going to use this Jackson's own brush, own Hake. It's got a sort of a ragged, straight edge. I'll show you. But it does lovely things. Got a hair coming out there. But it's sort of very fine serration of the bristles. These are goat hair. They're not that expensive, but they're very, very lovely things. So I like using Payne's grey for my glasses and my trees. A bit of shadow in here. Go down a bit of shadow there. So that's turned into a riverbank, hasn't it? So we call it Essex Riverbank. I don't know what particular river that is, but it's my river. Payne's grey, bit of burnt sienna, got a nice rich dark. Don't want too many sparkly holes, but I want to get quite a heavy summer tree in here. John does walks. He's sponsored by various councils and to make videos to popularise the area. Really, I suppose. Right, I just want to get a bit more feather or a bit of air in this tree here. Okay, that'll do. Oh, that's nice there. Right. We can. I'll let that dry up a bit. We'll put another one over the other side. A tree is a tree, isn't it? But what you don't want to do is to repeat yourself. You don't realise you do it, but you get carried away. You think, well, that looks good, I'll do another one of them. But it all ends up just too much. And repetition's not good. There we are. Let's get a bit of more Payne's in here. Payne's in cadmium yellow, pale. Okay. Look, just your fingernail. You can't see it because it's all my knuckles foreshortening the or me making the marks. Don't do too much, but just look. You can just bring that up into there. Okay. Right. Anything I can sort of improve on that? The Jackson Hake. Yeah, let's get some dark green in there. Oh. We've got a cauliflower there, but we can just take that out. Right, okay, I think I'll call that sort of done. Oh, that's still wet. Right, well, oh no, I should have done that, should I? Got carried away there. Right, okay, well that sort of makes sense. I think I will dry it, but it's not worth trying to edit the thing just for a little bit of a hair dry. So I'll ask you to remove your headphones or mute your sound. Ready? Get ready? Go. Okay, that's all I'm going to do with the hairdryer. Get the rigger and just add some highlights. A lot of noise outside. They've put what we call a bungalow. It's a single story dwelling house, a lovely, quite large. And they've just, well, over the months, last few months, they've had 3 bedrooms added to another floor, and it's going to look good. And they're just taking down the scaffold now. Nice to have some spiky bits. Oh, a couple of birds, I think, on where we've splashed. Give it a signature. Put it here. Now that was a pretty simple watercolour. Very basic really, but you get all sorts of effects when you let the water run down. You don't really overdo it, but I've got this lovely distant bank there in the mist. There could be a bit of rain coming down. But I quite like that. But we've got that big tree there, small trees here to balance. This are just more or less in the middle. Well, I hope you like it. I'll put it in a mount, and then I'll go out and see if I can get a paper, because local shops didn't have the papers for you when they're out at 8:45. Doesn't happen very often. Quite a nice walk in the cold, 3 degrees centigrade. Right, mount. I'll use this large mount. This was cut for a 16 by 12 sheet, but this sheet that I'm using is 15 by 11, but it looks nice, doesn't it? So let's just come out of that and raise you up so you can see the whole thing in the mount. I can't do much about that. I don't really want to paint it, but it's a nice mount. I've got so many here. And when I did the other day, it might have been yesterday. I think it was yesterday. On mount card. I've got a mount cutter, but I've lent it on indefinite loan to a friend who will bring it back if I ever need it. I cut all these mounts. They're all getting a bit battered and splashed, but the inner one, unless you want to make a real small mount for a small watercolour or oil painting, don't throw them away, even half size. Don't throw them away. I'll see if I've got something to show you. No, I can't get round behind my box easel. But I've got loads of bits of mount card, and if you've got a friendly frame, just ask them to save you some. And then you can paint them. They're very good for painting acrylic. You don't need to prime them, but it's best to if you're using acrylic, because the porousness of the card will suck the moisture out of the acrylic, and you'll be forever trying to put the paint on. Oil painting, you should really prime them with a couple of coats of primer to stop the oil seeping into the wood pulp, because that's what these are, wood pulp, cellulose. But you can. I remember a very well-known artist used to demonstrate for us, the art group I belonged to for about 25 years. I go to all the demonstrations, Sherry Valentine Deans. She didn't live far from here, probably about 10 miles, just on the edge of Epsom Downs, a place called Ashstead. All on the edge of the Surrey Hills. And she would turn up with her chairman of the group that she belonged to, and she would use mount card and she would mix the paint with white spirit. And I took my daughter and son were quite young then, but I took them because we were going on holiday the next day. And they were a bit bored for the first half because she was just flashing around with the paint on a lump of mount card. But after the coffee break, she started back into. She was doing a portrait of the chairman, and all of a sudden the face came out of the painting. It was lovely. They had a mouth open, agape. With wonder. I might even put a little figure there. I could just do that. Someone looking in the river. If I can find my little brush. And Sherry is one of our finest women impressionist painters. She's absolutely superb. She's very popular. She came one day to a demonstration, but she didn't turn up because she had flu, and her chairman came. She asked us if we'd mind if she did it instead of her sister. Oh, of course we wouldn't say no, would we? Why would we? And she was almost as good as Sherry. I saw some of her work in a gallery somewhere. Where was I? Down in Cornwall somewhere. It was Falmouth, a lovely town in Cornwall. Let's just do another one here. Couple of folks just on the edge. Okay, that's it. Something extra, isn't it? Anyway, enough from me. I'll see you soon. Thanks for watching. Bye bye.